Welcome to Switch Comics. My name is Marco, and today we're going to be talking about grading comics and kind of the disappointing letdown when you get a bad batch. So if you haven't watched my latest CBCS unboxing, I only had 4 comics, and 3 of them are on the wall behind me now. So we have, wrong direction, Iron Man 1, we have Heir to the Empire 1, and then, oh, right behind my head, Ultimate Fallout 4. That is the first print. Also in there was a Hulk 449. If you didn't watch that unboxing, it's, I think, a little bit of a painful one to sit through. Because, you know, I've done lots of unboxings on the channel, and, you know, sometimes you're up, sometimes you're low, you know, and it's, but usually I feel like I've been pretty close, and even if I'm off, you know, it's just been by a little bit most of the time. You know, I've had some, like I said, ones that got a way better grade than I thought would get, and, you know, ones that would get, you know, a decently lower grade than I thought. But this batch, granted, only 4 comics. I guess, you know, if it was like a 25 batch of comics and it was all bad, that'd be even worse. But, and I would like to state, because I feel like there's been a little bit of confusion with me as far as my comics and like how I collect. Just because I do get a lower grade than what I'm expecting doesn't mean I don't like low grade comics. I buy a lot of low grade comics. Oh, my Boba Fett helmet's in the way. But like right there, you know, that's my best comic, and it's my lowest grade. It's a 1.8. Some of my other, you know, really awesome comics, we got my Marvel Spotlight 5 that's a 2. Well, now my Iron Man that's a 2, and the Werewolf by Night that's a 2. Which I kind of like that, honestly. Like, I wanted the Iron Man to be a 3. I was kind of hoping for. But, you know, having those 3 comics at a 2 is kind of fun. You know, but, what else is... well, I just got this just recently. Where's that? Right there. My Strange Tales 158. It's either 150 or 160. I always forget. I think it's 158. But anyway, but yeah, that's a 5.0. You know, I got a bunch of low grade comics that I enjoy. My 62 is a 3.0. I think it's really low. But, and you know, they're the comics on my wall. Like, these are the comics that I really love and like I said, enjoy. But the issue is you know, when you're expecting, and especially, and I've done this for a little bit now, I feel like I'm getting kind of good at it, and to be so wrong on something, like, kind of hurts pridefully, you know, because it's like, dang, I felt like I was getting good at this, and then it just slaps you right in the face, and it's like, you know, you got a lot to learn still. Which, you know, is fine, but it definitely did hurt with it being some bigger books. And when in the video, if you watch the video, I'm definitely pretty devastated, and it took me a number of days. I think in a way I'm still kind of processing, but I feel like I'm a lot further along with it than I was before, because I didn't even know what I wanted to do. Like, I didn't know if I wanted to try to regrade things. If I just felt like I was lost in just this, you know, just chaos and despair, you know, to be dramatic, but you know, I didn't know what direction to go. And I think, you know, everybody has some bad unboxings, and I think every time might be a little different. For me to go one by one with them, starting with the Hulk 449, which isn't on the wall, first Thunderbolts. I try not to say this ever, because I feel like it's so easy. It's a cop-out, you know. Anytime your book gets a grade that you don't agree with, be like, that's not the book that I sent in. It's just so easy to say. And, you know, or my book was damaged. Like, I don't know what happened, but when I sent in that 449, I swear, I looked at it, my boss looked at it, it was like a perfect book. It was gorgeous, and that's why I sent it in, because I was like, I really think this has a shot at a 9.8, and I also try not to do that, but again, that's how good I felt about that book, because it was immaculate. Oh, probably selling more keychains on eBay. But yeah, and I try not to be that way in both regards, but I felt so absolutely confident with that one. And it ended up getting an 8.5. And that one is probably just going to stay in my extra slab box. It's worth less than what I have into it at this point. You know, I don't think it'd be one thing if I looked at that book, because like the big thing is there's a huge color up on the back, and I swear that was not there. Swear that was not there. But yeah, like I said, whether my book got swapped out or there's damage to it or whatever ended up happening, at this point there's nothing I can do about it. I can't resend that book in and try to get a 9.8. I know, looking at that book, I know it's not going to get a 9.8. So chalking it up to a loss, and it sucks to do, but I feel like once you're able to accept that, you're able to, you're able to move on, because that's all you can do. There's, I can't go to CBCS and raise hell and try to be like, there's no proof. Moving forward, I might take really thorough pictures of all my books, at least ones that I think, I don't know, because again, I really don't try to be that type of way, and like, even if I did take pictures, I don't even know what that would prove. Like, I don't think they would take that as evidence, because it's kind of hard to prove that that's actually the book that I sent in, but that's a different conversation. Basically, yeah, just taking that one at a loss. What's it called? Heir to the Empire 1. So that got an 8.5. I was kind of hoping for like a 9 plus, maybe a 9.2, 9.4. So that one, not too bad, honestly. What sucks about that one is it has pebbling, which is an issue that can occur when pressing. However, to clarify, when I, asked my presser about the book, it's a cardstock book, and it had a non-color breaking spine tick in it. Pretty decent size one, though. And I asked him, I was like, do you think you can do anything about this? I know this, being cardstock, it's a tricky cover to press. And he said he'll try. And he got it out. And it's one of those things, like, the book looked incredible. When he pressed it, it looked so good. And then, come to find out, it has pebbling, which is like little textures that basically, like, moisture can get in and cause that. And then, so I talked to him afterwards and asked if he thought he could get it out, because you can get it out, pebbling, on a regular paper book. However, with that being cardstock, he's like, probably not. And so, again, just going to, luckily I didn't have that much money into that book, and it's still an okay book at an 8.5. Like with the 449, it just absolutely destroyed at an 8.5. With Heir to the Empire, it's still an okay book. It's one, I don't, it's funny, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but there's not a lot of like Star Wars books I would want up on the wall. Heir to the Empire was one of them. I have one I'm going to show here in a second. And then Clone Wars 1 is like the last book, other than the book that's sitting on my desk here, that is a Star Wars book that I would really, really want to be, on the wall. So, at the end of the day, I'm fine with the 8.5. It kind of sucks. Maybe was a possibility, alternate universe where it could have been a little higher of a grade, but again, nothing I can do at this point. Moving on, so then we'll go with the Iron Man 1. This one, like I said, I was I was hoping for a 3 and got a 2. So when I got that one, it kind of sucked, but I was like, it's not that far off. And really, I just really wanted an Iron Man 1. I wanted to put up on the wall, and I kind of like the fact that it's a 2. I have a lot of books. I have a lot of 2.0s. I have a lot of 9.0s, actually. I think I've kind of withered them down on my wall, but I used to have a lot of 9.0s on my wall, and I still have quite a few of them. And I don't know. You kind of get in like these little fixes. I feel like some people get like in little fixes of grades. You have your 9.8 snobs that want everything to be 9.8, but then I think sometimes it just kind of happens. You know, it's just happenstance, and maybe you start getting a lot of cool books that happen to be sevens, or you know, whatever it is, and you know, I think that can be kind of fun. It's just kind of neat. I wouldn't go out of my way. Like if it did come back a 3, I'm like, oh, you know, I wouldn't be upset or anything. I guess, you know, if it came back a 1-5, that'd be kind of upsetting. But I think when it kind of lines up like that, I think it's kind of neat. And then also kind of, it is moving forward kind of influenced me when I'm looking at, like, for example, I'm looking at trying to get a SpiderMan 129 First Punisher. And I kind of wanted a higher grade. But now I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't mind a 2.0. You know, just have a bunch of really nice books that are 2.0. And that's still an expensive book at a 2.0, you know? Like, I mean, it's not like it's a piece of trash at that point, you know? And that's all my really low-grade books are still really nice books, you know? So I'm fine with it. So moving forward, I might be getting more 2.0s. And then, but for the last one, though, the Ultimate Fallout, this one, I was really hoping for like a 9+ again, you know, like 9 to 9.4, and it got a 7.5. And it, you know, it definitely has some issues. I feel like I would have been. This is the hardest one for me. Like everything else, I can kind of be like, okay, it is what it is. But the Ultimate Fallout 4, I'd like to, you know, if it came back an 8.5, I think I would have been okay. But yeah, the 7.5 was rough. And again, talking to my presser, you know, it's just a hard book. It's being graded. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, you know, if CGC or CBCS, they probably see this book every single day. You know what I mean? Like, you know, multiple graders see this book every single day. They're tired of seeing it. You know, we always talk about graders fatigue, and when they see the same thing, and then their vision of it changes, and you know, they can grade it pretty strictly. I don't know. I think I will try to wait on it and eventually send it back in, because yeah, I don't know. I feel like that book could get a higher grade, but we'll see. Ultimately, for the most part, I'm pretty moved on. I'm really looking to just move past this whole experience. But that being said, you know, it doesn't mean I'm done grading books. I ultimately, you know, a lot of these things, I do one on my wall. Even, you know, like I got my Ultimate Fallout, even though the 7.5 is really disappointing, it's still my Ultimate Fallout 4, and it's right next to my Edge of Spider-Verse 2. You know, like I like having it. And these are the books that I want to display. And I'm going to show a few books here I got that I will be sending in to grade next. So I have a Star Wars 42, which is, you know, first Boba Fett. And I don't know, let's see, I don't know if y'all can see that, the stain that is right, where is it, next to Bosk here. Yeah, y'all can see that, I'm sure. It's not super dark, but, you know, on the wall, I feel like it's going to look fine. If you're actually looking at it, you're like, yeah, it's got a fairly good sized stain on it. Excuse me. So I don't know how that's going to grade out. I'm not super familiar with how stains affect grades. That's a pretty dodgy spot of my knowledge. But again, it's one of my favorite Star Wars books. The Star Wars books that I care about in the original set are 1, 42, and 68. So 1 and 68 are on the wall, and again, now I'm really happy that my 1 is a 9.0. I love that book so much. And my 68 is a 3.0. Maybe one day I'll upgrade it, but it's fine for now. Presents super well. I don't think, even if I got a better one, I don't think I would like try to get rid of it unless it was someone like that I knew that wanted it or something. Just because I'm like, it is a gorgeous book. It looks super, super well, and I know it's kind of far away from the camera and blurry and everything, but even when you're looking at it, it looks great. You know, the back is absolutely destroyed, but like it presents awesome as a wall book. But anyway, so yeah, this is going to be sandwiched right in there between them, and then I'm going to have all my original books original run Star Wars books that I really want. And then I have Doctor Strange #1, and this one, you know, This one's okay. I think it might be about a 7. It's got the Marvel value stamp still in there, which is, you know, super important. And I'm not going to get, you know, any of the Doctor Strange big books anytime soon. And I really like Doctor Strange. And if y'all didn't watch the tier list video we did this past Wednesday, I put the new Doctor Strange movie in S tier. I love that movie. But I mean, also I just really like Doctor Strange, and I would like to get kind of like, I don't know, all these like big characters, you know. So like I have Ghost Rider up there, Iron Man up there, I have Thor up there, the big one with Thor. But you know, and I'd like if like everybody was kind of represented a little bit. So I don't know. There's gonna definitely be a point, and it's getting closer. It's getting tighter and tighter. Every time I get new slabs to put on the wall, it gets harder and harder to figure out what to take down, because that's what always sucks, is like what's gonna not be on the wall. But yeah, so getting a book for Doctor Strange I think would be super, super awesome. And I think that's kind of the best book that I can afford. Like I would love a Doctor Strange 169, but that's not happening, you know. And then my last book that I have that I will be grading is Premiere 15, which is the first Iron Fist, which I've always loved Iron Fist. I've always thought he's a super cool character. Very disappointed in the Netflix show. But I'm hoping that he's going to get a revival here sometime soon. We got all this stuff with, you know, Daredevil coming back, and I'm really hoping he's going to get recast, and we're going to get an awesome Iron Fist. I think it'd be awesome. It'd be so cool to see him fight Shang-Chi in the next movie or something, or whenever. I don't care when, but them two going at it in a crazy epic action scene would be just, I would love that so much. I would love it so much. With this though, I really want to get a Hero for Hire first, Luke Cage, because like those two books got to go together. There's certain things that you put up on the wall and it's like they got to go together, you know, like with Ultimate Fallout 4 and Edge of Spider-Verse. As soon as I got this book, it was killing me waiting to get this one back from grading. And you know, there's some other ones, you know, of course, obviously, you know, and then you have like your like collections like Moon Knight and the Star Wars books. It's like they gotta go together. But then you know, you have like the famous duo of Iron Fist and Luke Cage, and it's like, yeah, I gotta get those two books. And it's a book I regret not picking up. We had one at the shop a while back at this point, and I really wish I picked it up. And I came close a couple of times, but it was a pretty low grade, and I was like, do I want to get it, or do I want to try to wait out and find a better one? And then I think I was like getting closer and closer to saying yes, and then somebody else bought it. You know, sometimes you just need to just go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and do it. But so yeah, I just wanted to show you all that, because a lot of people have been asking me like, what are you gonna do about the whole the situation about the grades and everything. So I felt like it's probably a good idea to just go ahead and make a video and explain it to everybody, where, you know, I'm just taking the L basically, and it is what it is. I'm happy to have these books still. Like I said, for the most part, I don't think I'll ever try to regrade any of them other than the Ultimate Fallout 4. Side note, I guess, to talk about CBCS real quick, I think I might be leaving CBCS, at least for the moment, which is something I don't necessarily want to say, because I have been really enjoying CBCS. I still prefer their slabs. I know people freak out over the label, but, you know, I'm going to show you, I got a new comic. I'll show you here in a second. Actually, I'll show it to you right now. So this will be a little extra bonus thing. Lots of little bonus things in here. So I picked up a new slab. Check this out, you all. SpiderMan 607. It's got that glare. There we go. At a 9.8. Very, very cool book. I love Black Cat. I'm not a big J. Scott Campbell guy. I can appreciate some of his work, but like I don't even know how much stuff. I only own a few other of his, you know, covers. I'm just, you know, I think he's fine, but I love Black Cat, and this is my favorite cover of his. I do really like 606 as well, but I prefer 607. So yeah, this is a super, super rad, awesome book. But the thing is like, I can feel the comic rattle around, and I'm not trying to like shake it around too much, but the moment I picked it up, I felt the comic shaking it, and that irritates me so much. I feel like the build quality on CBCS slabs are so much better. I never have that issue with them rattling around in there. And it's just little things like that. You know, obviously, both companies have had a lot of issues. But ultimately, I feel like for the majority of my experiences, I've had better times with CBCS. Even though, you know, I've had some good experiences with CGC, but, you know, I've definitely... comics rattling, hair, dirt, plastic, all kinds of stuff being left inside the slabs with CGC. You know, just... and horror stories from people that have it even worse than me with upside down comics and wrong labels and this, that, and, you know, whatever. But it's one of those things, like, I have no problem buying a CGC slab. I really wish it didn't shake around, and it's not a problem all the time either. Like, it's only sometimes that the comics shake around, but God, it really bugs me when it does. But yeah, I don't have a problem buying CGC slabs. I just kind of don't prefer to send to them. But at the moment, and we've been talking about it at the shop, and we've been talking about it with my presser, both CGC and CBCS have definitely hired a lot of new people to keep up with demand. I have issues, big issues with both companies right now. I think both of them, or I know both of them, are like, look, we're so much better, we're so much faster. And, like, it is great that, you know, like this batch we sent to CBCS and it came back in 2 weeks. But, you know, I still have books back from, like, October at CBCS that they haven't sent. I have books from March of last year at CGC that I still don't have, you know? And all these, both companies, like I said, are just pushing their backlog aside. Like, we'll get to it eventually, I guess. But we're fast now, you know, because we're ignoring all the work we're supposed to do. So, yeah, I have that same issue with both of them. But it just has seemed, because we've been using, at the shop, we've been using CBCS ever since they switched over to that Express, where it's 2 weeks, you know. It's been awesome getting your books that fast. But it has seemed like every book has been, and you know, my boss has been doing this for a long time. He's usually pretty consistent with grading. You know, he's pretty close, and it feels like every book he sent in has been significantly lower than what he was expecting. So yeah, I don't know. I think we're going to take a pause on CBCS. But again, I think they just have so many new people, and it's kind of hard to explain. I don't want to go into it super deep right now because I know this video is probably long enough. But when you're grading a book, you know, and first of all, 9.8 isn't a perfect book. A 9.8, you know, isn't a 10. It's not a 9.9. It is a 9.8, which means it does have some flaws, some acceptable flaws that make it a 9.8. And it does kind of feel like everything is working down from a 9.8, which is not where you want to be. But also, when you're looking at a book, you should... each book, you know, has little things that are going to be similar. Like if there's production errors or on a certain comic, or you know, if it came in a poly bag or this, that, or, you know, whatever issue it is, certain books have some things that happen to it, you know, frequently. And you know, a more experienced grader would know certain nuances about different comics. But unfortunately, it does seem like all the newbies, you know, are just going down a checklist and being like, this is wrong, and then just plummeting the grades. And, you know, it's been feeling very, very rough. And I know everybody wants all their comics to be a higher grade than what their comics are. But I think when you have a track record of being pretty accurate at grading and trying to be the best you can at being subjective and being realistic, and then being proven, like having this history where you're pretty close and then suddenly you're completely wrong, it doesn't add up, I guess, you know. And again, we're not professional graders, I know, but when you have a huge difference, it doesn't feel right. And I don't know. I think I'm gonna, so like these 3 books are gonna go to CGC. I'm going to see how that goes, and, you know, I'll move on from there. And if these books seems like they get extremely harshly graded, because again, CGC probably has a bunch of new people as well, then, you know, I don't know. Now, luckily, these 3 books, I don't want to say I don't care what grade they'll come back as, but even if they're lower than what I was expecting, it's still books that I want on my wall. Like I said, I want to represent these characters. But, you know, I don't know. Obviously, you know, it'd suck if they were way lower than I was expecting. But, you know, we'll see. Like I said, and there's nothing I can do to try to predict. I can only, you know, take what's happened and try to move on with that. And like I said, I'd like to move back to CBCS at some point, but I just don't feel like now is the time. But that's the end of my long rant of a bunch of stuff. If you all didn't check out my new video, Grail or No Grail, that I just did Friday with Brian LCS, it was a really, really fun video. New game show, comic game show that we did. I think it turned out really good. But I would like to hear feedback on that if you all haven't got to check that one out yet. I'd love to know if you enjoy it, want to see more, want anything to change, be improved, or in any kind of way. So, yeah, that's about all I have for you. Again, I don't even know if this is going to go on the wall, because I love this book. I think it might go up top on the 3rd row that you all can't see. Because I also have my Momoko Black Cat that's off the wall at the moment. And I just love Black Cat. I might even make a different spot somewhere else to put my Black Cat books. But then, like, I want my 194 on the wall. I don't know. I'm having problems, y'all. I need a bigger wall. I need a mansion. I need a warehouse. We were talking about that earlier today. I need to win the lottery and get a warehouse and just put all my stuff in it. A giant wall of comics. But anyway, that's going to be it for today. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ha ha ha!